Hey there guys, we're taking a look at 0 Hour running on the AMD Ryzen 5 5500U. Now the game is currently running at 720p with the lowest in-game graphical settings. Now the game supports both DirectX 11 and Vulkan, but Vulkan is not running properly on it at all. The game pretty much would just crash as it was trying to launch if I set it to Vulkan. And we're taking a look at this game just because I've been recently just playing a lot of it on my main desktop, and I was very curious to see how it would actually scale to these lower end systems. And unfortunately at 720p, we're not really getting the best level of performance. Specifically, it's those 1% lows that are kind of dragging things down a bit. You'll see that there's actually a lot of frame time spikes, and really that's overall going to give you a not very smooth experience. It's certainly not terrible, but it's not amazing or anything like that. I mean, our averages aren't even at 60, we're just slightly below that, and those 1% lows, I think if they were just a little bit higher, maybe into the mid or upper 40 range, it would be a lot more consistent of an experience. But for a game like this, where with one shot you're pretty much dead, you kind of want it to give you the most consistent performance possible, and that's just not going to be what you're going to get here. It's certainly playable, and for a single player game it isn't going to be super detrimental, but it is one of those things where you might run into problems. By single player I mean the fact that you're going up against AI. You can of course do this with co-op, but overall the performance you're going to get is just going to be a little inconsistent. But considering that this is a genre of game that doesn't exactly give you a lot of options, if this is the type of game that you like to play, well, you're at least going to be able to do something with it. Though it really wouldn't be a bad move to just play the original SWAT 4, because I could almost guarantee you it will probably run better than this. I actually might have to dust off the old GOG account just to test that out. Oh, and one thing I want to point out is that RAM usage though. I mean, that is kind of insane amounts of RAM to be using at 720p at the lowest graphical settings. It really is starting to seem like 32 gigabytes might not be a bad move for some of these games with integrated graphics. And that's kind of crazy to think about. I'm almost tempted to pick up a kit of 32 gigabytes just to test it out on some of these games and see if it actually will give us an uplift in like the 1% lows. With the more titles that I test, the more that really just seems like a viable option. I might actually end up doing that soon. But when it comes to this game, I have to say that overall it's kind of a mixed bag of an experience. It's not going to be the greatest, but it's one of those things where if you really want to play this style of game, you can get away with doing it on here. It's one of those things where it's not going to be the smoothest experience, but if I was a kid and this was really the only way I could actually get away with playing games, I would stomach through this. So it's really just one of those things about managing your expectations. And I really do enjoy playing this game on my normal computer, so it's one of those things where the game is fun enough that if I had to play the game like this, I probably would put up with it. But now that I've become more accustomed to just games running at higher performance than this, it is one of those things where it is kind of hard to adjust to this lower level of performance. But anyways, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.